We are live once again. So it's obviously your boy Leo Luna 93 at Twitter and Instagram, joined here with Niner Nate. Our podcast released today, our weekly segment on Niners Nation. So if you have not listened to that yet, definitely go check out Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever the hell you listen to your podcast is. Besides YouTube, it's not up on there. So Niners Nation, there's new logo that Rob Guerrera finally created for us. I didn't mean to throw out that finally, but I kind of did, Rob.
Oh my God.
As well as go to 49ersgoldmine.com for all of your latest news. 49ers Gold Mine on all social media platforms. And hey, while you're here listening to us, make sure you hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. And if you are listening on Twitter, on Periscope, get the hell off there. Especially if you're not on Wi-Fi, it's going to buffer you out and make Nate and I unwatchable. So hop on YouTube, watch us from there. And Nate, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. We had some interesting news this morning. And I think that there's stuff to be said, but it's not at this point. I think there's things to talk about, but I think this is just a product of an NFL football offseason. Things are going to happen like this. I mean, it sucks, but there's not a whole lot we can really do. Every team is going to have these kind of injuries. It's not a 49er thing, so get that out of your mind. It's more just, let's just get to the season as fast as possible. Let's get to these preseason games. Let's watch these players, and we'll go from there. I don't think, as everyone says, it's like a 49er thing. I think it has nothing to do with the strength and conditioning coach. People were saying you should fire the strength and conditioning coach. Just have no idea what they're saying. But that's besides the point. Besides that, doing all right. Another day closer to the NFL season. Our show's up. We had a great talk about fish.
Yeah, for anyone that already did listen to our podcast, especially the intro, maybe you saw the video on Twitter. Sebastian has settled in very nice. He's loving the new facilities, loving the supporting cast that he has around him, floating inside the fish tank. So,
he's hanging out with the ones.
Yeah, he's hanging out with the ones.
That's good. So he's not having to share the ones with anybody else, but, making sure that they're all getting the same amount of fish food flakes, right?
Of course, yes, he's a fish, so he's doing well. I didn't want to pull out Tarvarius more individually because I already know the narrative is like, oh, well, he's not the starter. Tarvarius Moore plays a big role in this team. The guy logs over 200 special team snaps per season, over 300 special team snaps in 2 out of the 3 seasons. He has a significant role in this team, especially if something happens, unfortunately, to the starters, which, fingers crossed that nothing does happen. Tarvarius Moore is literally the next man up before Marcel Harris if something were to happen to Ward or God forbid. So does this now create a big role for Tony Jefferson, Nate?
I think we kind of talked about this a little bit. I think the reason Tony Jefferson signed with the 49ers is because they knew about this injury, and Tony Jefferson figures, hey, there's not a whole lot of teams where I'm going to start. If I go to this team, if the starter does go down, I'm going to start for sure. And this is a team where I could potentially go win, a lot of games, potentially a division championship, maybe even an NFC championship, whatever. And I think that was a factor. And I think, because the Niners have had so many, defensive secondary guys who don't stay healthy, I think it's like a perfect scenario for him because he can come in and, he's probably going to play a couple snaps eventually. And now that, T. Moore's hurt, get better, buddy. The thing is he's going to be able to, because they rotate guys. That's the thing is it's not always the same guys out there. Sometimes guys need a break, some rest, something like that. And that means that he's going to see the field and he knows he's going to see the field. And I think that's why he was willing to sign with the 49ers. I think, we both heard about 2 months ago that Tony Jefferson wanted to be a 49er. And so it just took, an injury for that to happen. I would like to call Malik Hooker too, but that's besides the point. I mean, I just like to have that depth, have more guys, you
just want that option, huh? You're that guy who already has a vehicle that is, newer model, runs perfectly fine, nothing wrong with it. but you see another vehicle, you just wanted to have it there to park in the garage. Is that what you want to do with Malik Hooker?
I just want to have as many guys who can start on this football team as possible. My biggest thing is like injuries are going to happen. It's the National Football League. Like nobody gets through a season. You know, most of these guys have at least one injury. You know, sometimes it's not season ending. Sometimes you miss a game. Like, you know, Russell Wilson, people talk about how he's never been hurt, never missed a game. Russell Wilson's been hurt, dude. Like that's just that narrative doesn't make any sense. Anyone who has worked in Seattle, has been around that team, has done any media around the Seattle Seahawks, which I have, knows Russell Wilson's been hurt. And Russell Wilson's just fought through the injuries, which our quarterback has not. Whatever, we can talk about. We don't need to talk about that. You know, guys fight through injuries all season, no matter what position they're in. And so it comes down to toughness, significance of the injury, and the ability to overcome. And the last year, the 49ers suffered more injuries that you can't overcome, you know, more significant type injuries. And, you know, there's injuries now, and a lot of other teams haven't gotten quite injured yet because it's OTAs. But, like, this is a team with aspirations that they're going to win the Super Bowl every year. So they're going to go out there and they're going to work their ass off every single day, especially backup guys who are still trying to make the team. You know, like Tarvarius Moore, his spot on the team isn't guaranteed. You know, we can think it is. But none of these guys who are, you know, who didn't start, you know, hell, Daniel Brunskill might not even be guaranteed a spot. Like, that's the thing, is a lot of these guys aren't guaranteed a spot. And so they're going to go out there no matter when they're in Levi's, when they're on the practice field, and they're going to go out there and they're going to work their ass off every single day. And, you know, that leads to injuries, and it sucks what happened to those guys. But, you know, this is the National Football League. You go into car crashes every single day you step on that field. And practicing car crashes is maybe not as bad as the car crash, but it's still just as bad. And you're still going to get hurt. Still high risk of injury. You know, there's a lot that can happen, and, you know, you're seeing it. And it's not just us. You know, as this thing goes on, OTAs go on, as we get into training camp, there's going to be a lot of season-ending injuries. It's just football.
Okay, so big role for Tony Jefferson. I think a role that's going to be dependent. He's going to have a big role regardless. How I see it is special teams. If you're, you know, a coverage guy on special teams, that's a pretty significant role. The last thing you want to do is have a whack-ass special teams to where you're giving up field position, or hell, you know, the worst would be to give up points. So that's a significant role. Like I said earlier, that's something Tarvarius Moore logged over 300 snaps his first 2 years, and then over 200 snaps last year. Dwindled down a bit because he ended up being the starting safety towards the end of the year. With Tony Jefferson, I think this guy could still be a starter in the league. He's 29 years old, so he's below that 30 line, 5'11", 211 pounds. He could play the free, he could play the strong. So I have some mutual connections with Tony Jefferson. This is not firsthand conversation I had with him, but between those mutual connections, the reason why the signing wasn't earlier is because he wanted a spot where he could potentially play. If he signed earlier with San Francisco, you know, when Tarvarius Moore was still healthy, it's unclear. It's too much overcast to see if he had a chance to even make the 53. But based off his ability, I think he can. His last year in Arizona, his defensive coordinator was James Bettcher. Why does that name sound familiar? Because James Bettcher is now the senior defensive assistant of this 49ers team. So his last year in Arizona, his DC is now with San Francisco. And that last year with the Cardinals, Tony Jefferson balled the hell out. He was probably top 10 safety that year. I believe it was 2015, 2016. And that's where he got the big contract from the Baltimore Ravens. This kid can play. I say kid, even though he's older than I am. It's just a force of habit. He started 5 games in 2019, wasn't too pretty. And he had season-ending ACL injury. And then 2020, he decided to opt out, take care of his body, rehab, so that he comes back to 2021 very, very fresh. But the main thing for me is just having James Betcher there back with Tony Jefferson, to where if Jefferson is now asked to start, I think he's going to be very comfortable in this defense and be towards that potential borderline top 10 safety that he once was. Yeah, it's a few years removed. I'm not going to ignore that. But the fact is, the guy's under 30 years old, and he's probably fresher than he has ever been in his career. That was the one significant injury he has ever experienced in the NFL. Other than that, we've saw him out there for all 16 weeks. Mm-hmm. So I think regardless, yes, he's going to have a big role because he's going to have to play special teams. You cannot be a backup safety in this league, be on the 53 and not play any special teams. And then I think that role can get enhanced because we'll see 17 games this year. Can Tart and Jimmy Ward do it? I hope so, because they're a top 10 safety tandem in the league. So we'll see. And now on the next topic here, it's, do the 49ers need their second round draft pick from this year, Aaron Banks, to win that right guard competition? Like, do you think that's something that needs to happen, Nate?
If it doesn't happen, it's not the end of the world. I think next year would be the problem. It would have to happen. But if it did happen with the Skule injury, it's a pretty big deal because it allows Brunskill to be the, I can play anywhere where anyone gets hurt type of guy. Mm-hmm. And it makes sure that Brunskill makes the team. They have, the depth there for, a second line. But I think Brunskill, if Banks is better than Brunskill, I think Brunskill's good. Like, that's the thing, is a lot of people kind of hate on him and say he's not a great guard, but he's sure as hell better than Mike Person. And so if Brunskill gets beat out because Aaron Banks is just better, that's great for the 49ers because it means they drafted the right guy in the second round. And then it allows Brunskill to just kind of be moved everywhere for whoever gets injured. I don't think it's like a need. I think it's more like a hell. It would be cool. But if it doesn't happen this year, it's not a big deal. If it doesn't happen next year, that's when we're probably having a problem because we had Brad Graham on our show, and he was saying, like, hell, they're probably not going to pay Laken Tomlinson. And so if, he doesn't beat out Brunskill and, Banks is not looking that great, well, he's going to be replacing Laken Tomlinson, who's been like this, rock in this offensive line. He's been consistent. Like, that's the thing, is it was him and Staley. They were really consistent. And then it was him and Trent. They're really consistent. And then, you didn't have a center last year, which made everything go to hell. And Mike McGlinchey was concrete feet, and he, didn't bulk up until now. So, like, that side's always been the anchor, the good part of the team. And so I think that Brunskill helped a lot last year, but he got basically immediately moved to center last year. And so that made it really hard. So, I mean, it doesn't have to happen this year. Happens this year, it'd be dope. But next year, it does have to happen. He does have to start next year.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and say the 49ers need Aaron Banks to win this competition. And the reason why I say that is with Justin Skule down, you lose your swing tackle. Aaron Banks wins this competition, you pretty much gain a swing tackle back, or a utility man, as they call it in baseball, with Daniel Brunskill. We've seen Daniel Brunskill play left tackle. We've seen him play right tackle, and he's played them both at a high level when he was asked to do so. And while I like Daniel Brunskill, the person, the player, the 49ers clearly invested the future with Aaron Banks here. They need him to start, because then you look at who do they have at tackle, and that's a lot more thin than what they have on the interior, because they even have Jalen Moore that they selected, who could be a backup guard. Very athletic. He could get out there, in the zone blocking scheme. Excuse me there. I was going to say read option for whatever reason. In the zone blocking scheme, Jalen Moore could get out there. He has really good feet. It's a very, very athletic guard for being under 315 pounds. So, lose a tackle, you could potentially gain one back in Brunskill. You lose that potential of Brunskill being your utility man if Aaron Banks doesn't win the competition. If Aaron Banks doesn't win it, then the 49ers are basically lost without that tackle. Like it makes the Justin Skule injury a lot more severe than what it is initially. So that's why they need this guy to, just to go ball out and do his thing. And I think he's set up for success. Although he is a much larger guard than what we're used to in the Shanahan offense, that could work out very well because that means this guy should be a hell of a lot better pass blocker than what we've seen from a Mike Person in the past. So, yeah, they need him. They very, very much need him to win that competition because if you're able to have Daniel Brunskill as a Swiss Army knife, that's an asset. That's a huge get. You don't get that Swiss Army knife if Aaron Banks can't beat him out at right guard. So that's why I think the 49ers definitely do need it. But, hey, since we're on this topic.
I get where you're coming from, but
no. If you guys are on Periscope, hey, join us here on YouTube. Subscribe. Go ahead and like the video. Do whatever you can to help out the platform. Very much appreciate it. And since we're talking about the offensive line, if you want to get into it a little more, Nate, it's are the 49ers a top 10 offensive line? I bring you this question because PFF has recently done their position rankings through all 32 teams. And they actually have the 49ers ranked 9th. Don't ask me how they got there or what rating chart do they use, but they have the 49ers 9th in the NFL.
Do you have the 8 teams in front of them, out of curiosity, in front of you?
I could pull it up.
Yeah, I'm curious if you want to pull it up real quick because I just want to hear the names and then I want to judge for myself once I've heard the names. But I do think that they are one of the best offensive lines in the league going into this season, for sure. Just because Alex Mack, I think Brad said it yesterday on the show, like Alex Mack is one of the best centers in like the last decade, and now he's on this team. And that was where your big problems were because Trent's really good. And Mike McGlinchey is one of the best run blocking tackles in the entire league. And Brunskill was fine. And Lakin was good. And if Banks is better than Brunskill, then, oh my God, What is it? So who are the teams?
I'm still pulling it up.
Okay. But yeah.
Obviously, you're the Cowboys.
Cowboys will be there for sure. I'm trying to think who else will be there. Tampa Bay, probably. The new Kansas City Chiefs line, probably pretty good, I would think. Trying to think. Green Bay probably is there, I would think.
All right, so coming down. Bring it up. So here are top offensive linemen or offensive line groups in the NFL per PFF: Browns, Colts, Patriots, Saints, Bucks, Cowboys, Chiefs, Rams, Niners at 9, Lions at 10.
I think that the Niners are better than the Rams. They're better than the Lions for sure. The Saints I could see being better. I think they're like 7, 8, or 9. I think there's an argument for them to be 7, 8, or 9. Like they're not top 5 at offensive line, but I mean they're pretty damn good. And that's like the big thing this year that's different is that the offensive line is so much better and so much improved, which is going to help with, the run game, hopefully, because, last year when we couldn't run the football in some of those games because we were just so injured and our quarterback was incapable of doing anything, so they just load the box. I'm hoping this will be like just a different scenario in that way. But yeah, they're not top 5. Definitely top 10. I agree. Top 10, 7, 8, 9. That sounds about where they should be.
Okay, that's fair. Top 10, I think it's so tricky because this list could go upside down by the time the season starts. Uh, but top 10, sure. And I think you come to that conclusion because Trent Williams is an A1 center, or excuse me, left tackle. Alex Mack is an A1 center. Lincoln Tomlinson, I'm confident he's a top 10 left guard.
Absolutely.
Right tackle, Michael McGlinchey may have his struggles as a pass protector, which he's always had. It's nothing new. It just kind of got highlighted last year since they weren't winning like they were in 2019. But he's a top 2 run blocker as a right tackle. I know in a lot of categories he's a top 1. And then right guard, that's kind of where the question remains. Is it Aaron Banks? If it's Aaron Banks, does he play like a top 10 right guard straight off as a rookie? Is it Brunskill? Does Brunskill finally have a home to where he's a top 10 guard? Obviously he had the game against Aaron Donald where he shut him down and it pretty much went viral, calling him like Aaron Donald's dad or whatever, which is, crazy. But when you succeed against a guy like that, the internet's going to run wild because a guy like that never gets beaten that badly. So I think, they deserve to be in the top 10 just mainly because they have 2 guys that are the best at what they do. If they're not the best, they're top 3 at what they do. And then you have both better than serviceable, better than average. Left guard, right tackle. Right guard's a remaining question. That's why I would kind of agree that they're on the back end of the top 10 and not say they're top 5 or not even say they're top 7, just because we've seen, we have Aaron Donald. I mentioned him already in this division. You don't have a right guard against that guy. He's just going to eat you up, and it can make your offensive line look a whole lot worse. So I think if that position gets secured and it ends up being someone who's even just a top 12 at their position, I think this could be a top 6 offensive line. But hey, for a preseason, not even before a preseason, a June ranking, hell yeah, I'll take top 9 any day.
No, for sure. Like you look at it and you're like, yeah, this is good. This is much better.
It's crazy seeing Browns number 1 though.
Well, they spent
Patriots number 3.
They spent a lot of draft picks and a lot of money to fix that offensive line because they thought that the reason Baker was struggling was because of the offensive line. Thus, they fixed the problem because Baker is mobile, but, Baker was getting hit before he could even do anything, before he could think. And so, like, while Baker Mayfield isn't a great quarterback, and he's not like he's not a terrible quarterback. He's, a top 15, top 16, 17 guy probably.
Yeah, he's a top 15, I would probably say.
Right. And so you give a guy like that an offensive line and you tend to see, some sort of improvement. And they've just drafted really well for the, offensive line around him. And they've seen a lot of success and good on them, Like, we'll see what that does. They're a scary football team. The Cleveland Browns are good. I think they're being held back by quarterback play. I think that's the reason they don't get over the hump that is the Kansas City Chiefs or the Buffalo Bills.
Right. Let's go ahead and hop over to defensive line here because same article over at NinersNation.com is the one who gave us the scoop here on the top 10 rankings for the offensive line and defensive line by PFF, so Pro Football Focus. Yeah, me too. Hey. So with the top 10 defensive line, no surprise, Pittsburgh Steelers number 1. No surprise once again. You could kind of catch yourself saying that down this list with Washington football team, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Rams at 4, Eagles at 5, Bears at 6. Yeah. Gets a little tricky after that top 3. Jets at 7.
I don't care what anybody says.
Is Saints, 9 is 49ers, and 10 is.
I'm mad. I'm mad.
Speak about it. 49ers. They're number 9, just like the offensive line. But they're outside of the top 5. Speak on it. Looking at those names.
This is wrong. This is like flat out wrong. Here we go. 9 or 8 pissed. So okay, Pittsburgh Steelers. I get it. Like T.J. Watt was really good last year, but like they lost Bud Dupree. Get the hell out of here. No, Pittsburgh Steelers are not the best line. The best line in the NFL right now is the Washington football team. Bar none. It's number 1 is the Washington football team. And then you're telling me the next one's Tampa Bay. I could see that they were in the Super Bowl. They were good. But the fact that San Francisco is not even top 5, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? The Philadelphia Eagles aren't better than the 49ers. The Philadelphia Eagles don't have Nick Bosa and Javon Kinlaw and freaking Eric Armstead and D Ford and Sam Sabucam. And what the hell do the Rams have outside of Aaron Donald? I understand he's the best player in the league, but what the hell are we doing? What?
Leonard Floyd.
Okay. What the hell, man? Like Leonard Floyd, he's D Ford. And he's not as good as D Ford. Kinlaw is, I mean, obviously we don't know exactly what he is, but he should be, take that next step and be like what we need from Buckner. Bosa's still probably top 3 pass rusher in the league. I mean, what he did that first year was insane. Ebukam and D Ford, if they're healthy, are just absolute terrorizers on the edge. And then you still have Eric Armstead, and you still have DJ Jones. And people forget just how good DJ Jones is all the time, man. I'm telling you right now, this is garbage. The Bears are not better than the 49ers. The Philadelphia Eagles are not better than the 49ers. This is absolute trash. I understand the offensive line rankings, but the Rams and the 49ers should be right next to each other, if anything. The fact that, the Rams are at 4 and the Niners at 9, what are you smoking over there, bro? What are you smoking over there? This is stupid. This is dumb. It makes no sense. The Saints are not better than the 49ers on defensive line. The 49ers have a top 5 defensive line, bar none. I'm so sick of the slander, bro. Oh my God. Put the pads on, and we'll see who has the best defensive line in the league when teams are literally shaking in their boots playing the 49ers. This is stupid.
You have comment requests in here.
What expression? Oh, this one? That's what I see when I read this. This is stupid. I'm mad, man. I'm mad reading that. That just pissed me off.
All right, so here we go. Pittsburgh Steelers, when they have TJ Watt, I think that counts for at least 1.5 points, if not 2 points.
Bosa's better.
Come on.
Nick Bosa's
Come on, let's not go there. I love me some Nick Bosa.
Nick Bosa's better than TJ Watt.
Don't get me wrong.
Nick Bosa is better.
Nick Bosa on a tool. What? The little viral video his girlfriend sent. But it's TJ Watt, what he's put together while Nick Bosa's just been in the NFL himself. TJ Watt has, the accolades to back up with the talent. Nick Bosa, has only 1 year of it. So that's what I got TJ Watt there.
Leo, we're fighting on this podcast.
I'm not saying Nick Bosa's not going to pass him.
Nick Bosa is better than TJ Watt. Nick Bosa's better than Chase Young, too.
TJ Watt's number 1. It is what it is. TJ Watt's number 1.
Wrong. Where's the same thing where he's wrong?
I got over Chase Young. I think Chase Young is.
Do you have TJ Watt, then Nick Bosa, then Chase Young? Those are your top 3 edge rushers in the league.
Come on, Myles Garrett? No Myles Garrett.
So what is give me your ranking then? Is it Myles Garrett 1, TJ Watt 2?
No, I got TJ Watt 1, Myles Garrett 2, and then 3's up for grabs.
Wrong.
I don't like creating much more than that.
Wrong.
Then it's just all opinionated after that.
Wrong.
But Steelers football team, Buccaneers, okay, understandable. Rams, I just don't think they have the depth to compare with the 49ers. I think they have some talented players, no doubt. It's pretty freaking obvious. But I don't think their talent stretches as far as the 49ers talent. And while their elite talent is great with the Darnold, 49ers, their 1-2 punch is...
Oh my God, I didn't see the Jets above the 49ers. What are we doing?
Right.
What are we even doing anymore?
Right.
I'll do it again. That's ridiculous.
I'm taking the Niners top 4 over the Rams top 4, basically. I'm taking the 49ers top 4 guys over the Eagles top 4. Bears, Khalil Mack. I like it. But I'm still taking the Niners top 4 over the 49ers top 4. I'm taking the 49ers top 4 over the Jets top 4. Saints. intriguing. Cameron Jordan. They did lose Hendrickson this offseason to the Bengals. Hell, I'm taking the 49ers top 4 guys over those top 4. So the 49ers should, I think they're top 5. They could be number 4. I think they should be number 4 in this rankings. So with the 49ers offensive line being 9th, I was like, okay, I'll take it. And then seeing the defensive line's rankings, I'm just like, what the fuck is this?
I don't even know what's going over there.
Jets?
I think we should all write them a strongly worded letter.
I'm going to write them a letter.
Yeah.
Nate is going to go full Karen right here. He's going full Karen. He's going to write a letter. PFF is wrong. I'm wrong because I have TJ Watt over Nick Bosa.
You're wrong too. You don't slander Nick Bosa ever.
I'm not. How is it slander?
No, it's funny. So I'll tell you a story real quick before we end this. There were people on Twitter on draft day who were like, oh, well, I hope the 49ers draft Q Williams over Nick Bosa. And I just remember being on Twitter just like, am I crazy? Am I crazy to think that Q Williams is nothing compared to Nick Bosa? When you watch Nick Bosa film, the dude is a freak. Like, I think people have like this thing where they like get recency bias. Like, I get it. TJ Watt played last year, but do we remember what Nick Bosa did to the Carolina Panthers in 2019? Like,
see, the thing is, TJ Watt's done it for more than 1 year. TJ Watt's done it for more than 1 year. It wasn't just last season. Like, he's put like 3 staple seasons in a row together.
I don't care. Nick Bosa's better. I don't care. Did you just order a 97 jersey?
Did you just order a 97 jersey?
No. No, Nick Bosa's been my guy. Like, that was the thing is like, ever since the draft day, that's my story. Is like, everyone's like, oh, Q Williams, that's the Niners pick. Like, all the idiots at 95.7 The Game and no, I won't slander KMBR. Those are good people. But 95.7 The Game had some people come on, like a Seattle radio station I was working at the time, and they were like, who do you think the Niners are going to take with the second pick overall? And some idiot goes, oh, they're definitely going to take Q Williams. He's definitely the type of guy they draft. And I was like, why would you take Q Williams over Nick Bosa? He's not better. Like, why? What is the reasoning for that? Like, it makes no sense. He's a D lineman. Your most needed position is edge. And I was just like, are people just stupid? Or they just don't like Nick Bosa because he's from Ohio State? Like, some of the things that people say and do when they talk about football teams just bother the hell out of me. And the slander against Nick Bosa is literally the most annoying thing in the world to me when it comes to just football and the Niners, because that dude is a literal freak. Like, he might be alien. Like, I'm not even joking with you. People aren't built like that. That dude's calves are bigger than my head and your head put together. Like, it's insane. Nick Bosa is... They don't make people like Nick Bosa. He's bigger than his brother. Like, that's the thing. And his brother's a big dude. And he's probably better than his brother right now. And it's just... I don't know. I can't...
Nick Bosa came into the league at 21, built like a freaking 32-year-old. This guy's a grown-ass man, and he was barely able to buy a drink. John is a Buckeye fan, and he has 49ers 97 jerseys in every single color.
He's probably gonna
I'm still waiting on my first. I'm gonna have to order myself one.
No, wait for the home throwback. Just wait. That's what I'm doing with my Trey Lance. I'm waiting. I'm getting a home throwback Trey Lance to wear at the home opener because that's gonna be the starting quarterback.
Nate, we're not going down that rabbit hole, man.
I just
look we went 34 minutes here before.
I'm talking about Nick Bosa.
Starting at quarterback. No, I heard what you said.
Anyway, I don't know what you're talking about.
But yeah, 49ers. It's like they had one injury season in it, and then they forget. And like T's and P's to Solomon Thomas. But when people say Solomon Thomas is a loss to this defensive line, that's not freaking true. It's not true. Like,
people watch Solomon Thomas play football. I love the guy.
I hope he has a great career moving forward as a non-San Francisco 49er, but he's not a loss to this defensive line. Just because of where that guy was selected doesn't make him a loss to the team. Yeah. It was just an unfortunate situation to where he didn't, he's not ending his career as a 49er and the things didn't pan out, but it's not a loss.
Leo, you know what I suspect is a lot of these beat writers and these people who work at PFF and these people who do this stuff are people who say, like, the loss of Solomon Thomas is a real big deal for the 49ers. Like, those guys don't watch the 49ers. They literally watch highlight film because there's so many teams to watch. They can't watch them all. You know, like, these are guys who are literally, like, just talking out their butts. And that's the thing is, like, we know because we watch the 49ers every week. We cover them. We do a podcast. We do, like, 6 to 7 hours worth of content about the 49ers.
Even watch the All-22 after the game.
Yeah, like, we're crazy. And we know Solomon Thomas wasn't good. Well, to be fair, they used him on the outside, which they never should have done. He should have been on the inside. But at the same time, like, he never was an impact guy. So when you see someone who's like, well, the loss of Solomon Thomas. I mean, when you say the loss of DeForest Buckner, yes, I get that. DeForest Buckner was a huge part of this team. Yes. Like, people don't realize that until he was gone.
See, but that's the thing. It's like with DeForest Buckner, this 49ers defensive line would be number one. They would be stapled at the number one spot. But since they don't have DeForest Buckner, that's what drops them to 4, in my opinion.
Yeah, not to 9.
I think they could. I know that's ridiculous.
It's the stupidest thing I've read in weeks. Is the fact that they're 9 because Kinlaw isn't DeForest Buckner. I think Kinlaw's gonna be really good this year, though. I really do. Like, I'm all in on the Kinlaw train. You know, man put a squirrel in his mouth. He's crazy. That dude is a nutbag. Like, in the best way possible. Like, he's going to murder someone this season. And I hope it's I mean, what?
We are not advertising for you to find a squirrel and put it in your mouth. That's not an advertisement. That's just Javon Kinlaw. The guy's a different animal. He's a beast. And you know, once again, let's see. I see hand expressions again. My favorite excuse is the one where it's been said he wasn't playing his natural position. Insert Nate's hand expression. There it is. Perfect.
I don't know why people like that. It's just like,
it's just hilarious. I like it too, but I try not to bust up too much. But you know what? 49ers, yes, top defensive line, absolutely. I think that's where we're going to wrap it up, Nate.
I think one last thing I want to say. I think people are going to be surprised by how good Javon Kinlaw is this year. I think that he's going to actually blow other people away because I think that, you know, while he wasn't amazing last year, like, I don't think people realize how good he actually was last year. He was pretty good. Took some double teams, not Aaron Donald, and that's a big man. Like, he's just going to get better in the offseason. Keep in mind, last season they didn't have, like, any training, any of that stuff. Like, Kinlaw's going to be better. Yeah. We can wrap it up. But yeah, PFF, you're freaking wrong. Like, wrong. Super freaking wrong.
That's where we're going to wrap it up. We're going to go live again here on Thursday, so look out for us on Thursday. Hopefully I'm over this freaking cold by that. Yeah, I thought it was allergies. Turns out to be a cold. But, hey, hopefully we're there. John,
you're the GOAT.
You're the GOAT, John. Appreciate you very much. We're going to, see you on Thursday and talk to you Thursday. And,
one more time.
Hey. Boom. Oh, hold on. We need the close-up.
Oh. Boom. We'll see you on Thursday to talk some more 49ers football and check on Sebastian the Goldfish.
Yeah, before you guys head out of here, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate it.
And check out the Niners Nation podcast.